All right, so let's call this Board of Works meeting to order. It is 9-ish on Tuesday, May 6th, regular Board of Works meeting. We are accepting a quote today. The meeting has now officially begun. No quotes or documents will be accepted after this time. Nancy, would you please do the roll call?
Good morning and thank you. All 5 of our members are with us in the council chambers this morning. Andy Jones.
Present.
Rose Rivera.
Present.
Mike Macklin.
Here.
Ronnie Davis.
Present.
Jamie Arce. Thank you, Board.
We have a motion to approve the agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any changes? Seeing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Open quotes.
You got one.
Go have to disallow this. You could do easier to open, Jim. Would not be a complaint. Okay, so our quote is from Selge Construction. They've have a certified bid summary form, and their total quote for this project $70,935. 70,935. Could I have a motion to assign these to staff to review and report back at the end of the meeting?
Board, we'd ask that you make a motion to report back at a later meeting, please.
So I move that we assign these to staff and report back and award at a later meeting.
Second.
Motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Claim and allowance docket.
Mr. President, I move that we approve the claims and allowance docket in the amount of $8,729,913.77, consisting of 44 pages, printed on April the 29th, 2025 at 9:48 a.m.
Second. Motion and a second. Hello, Aaron. How are you?
Good morning, Erin Coons, Deputy Controller. I'm okay. How are you?
Good.
We have our payment to Elkhart County Treasurer for our 2025 Humane Society interlocal agreement for $25,510.83. Payment to Selge Construction for CSO 39 sewer separation for $157,933.71. And American Rescue Plan claims total $693,199.44 today. Any questions?
Amy, you got any questions?
None.
You understand this, I don't. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thank you, ma'am. Minutes. Could I have a motion to approve the regular meeting minutes from April 15th?
So moved.
Second. Motion and a second. Any changes? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
Mr. President, I move that we authorize the city engineer to execute a professional services agreement with CME. I guess we have 2 actions here. First is that I move that we approve the selection of CME Corporation as the design build firm for the street department SALT facility project, subject to the approval of the funding appropriation by the Common Council, and authorize the city engineer to execute a professional service agreement with CME Corporation for preliminary design for a fee not to exceed $20,000.
Second.
Motion and a second on the 2 actions. Is that right? Jeff?
Jeff Schaefer, Assistant City Engineer. Apologize for splitting the actions. This is the design build project that we're doing for the street department to replace their salt storage facility, salt and other materials. As you recall, we went through a process of selecting a technical review committee as well as the board approved the design criteria documents that went out the door to the contractors. We did receive 3 qualified and responsive proposals. The way the statute reads is the technical review committee actually reviews the proposals without looking at the price. So the price is put into a separate envelope. And so we reviewed the proposals and did a qualitative selection, ranked them 1, 2, 3. And you can see the rankings in your memo. Then at that point in time, we open the price proposal and bring you a recommendation based on the qualifications and the price. In this situation, CME was ranked as the most qualified firm by all of the technical review committee members, and they also had the most competitive price proposal. So what we're asking for today is to first select CME as the design build contractor. The reason why we put the caveat about the council funding is the council has not yet funded this project. So what we'd like to do is select CME, and then using budgeted funds out of the engineering budget, sign a professional services agreement with them to let them do some preliminary design activities while we go through the council appropriation process. So we'd like to select CME with the understanding that the council has not appropriated funds for this, and then go ahead and start the very preliminary design process using engineering funds.
Okay, questions?
No, none for me.
All those in favor of these 2 actions signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
Mr. President, I move that we award bid number 25-11, the Lerner Theater North Roof Replacement Project for QA 7981 to Born Trigger Enterprises Incorporated, who submitted the lowest responsive bid with a contract price in the amount of $298,241 even.
Motion and a second.
Again, Jeff Schaefer, Assistant City Engineer. 3 bids received, and the bid received by Borntrager has been reviewed thoroughly by our consultant, DLZ, as well as by the city staff, and we feel comfortable moving forward with them. And this has received an appropriation from the council.
Right. I'm glad you noted that you felt comfortable with the bid, because one of my questions was, given the disparity between the low bid to the next 2, was making sure that we didn't have any reason to be concerned that it was a low ball bid for and would result potentially in exceeding the change order limitations or leveraging change in field conditions, et cetera.
Yeah, we did a little bit of extra due diligence, talked to some of the general contractors that they've worked with in the past recently, work they've done here in town specifically, and felt very comfortable based on that we had a good bid.
Appreciate that, Jeff.
Other questions, observations? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
Mr. President, I move that we ratify partial payment request SRF number 57 of the SRF loan WW221-62005 in the amount of $76,750 even to American Structure Point from the allocated SRF loan for professional services on the Oakland Avenue Project C, Harrison Street design.
Motion and a second. Jason?
Jason Simnick, project manager. It's just a monthly bill from American Structure Point. The design, they've got their 90% plans into us, and we're well on schedule for bidding this year.
Great.
Is that with the long-term control plan?
Yeah, this is for Project C. So it's the
When
portion
does it all have to be done, I guess I'm asking?
What's
When does the Oakland Avenue control measure have to be done?
I believe it's 28.
2028?
Yeah.
Okay. Other questions for Jason? Seeing none, all those in favor of this proposal of this motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
Mr. President, I move that we approve change order number 4 for the CSO 39 sewer separation project for an increase of $130,222.01, bringing the current contract price to $5,408,847.66.
Motion and a second. Jason?
Yeah, this is a change order that includes many different items on the, from the construction of the project. A couple of the things, some of the larger change orders were an under drain that we had to put in on the north side of High Street due to basically the way that the road there is, and we weren't able to get 2 blocks to flow out to the road because the houses are lower behind. So we ended up putting the easiest way of doing it after everything was installed, and we found out the problem after we put the curb in, that we weren't going to be able to get everything to slope back. We ended up putting an under drain in along
You
2
mean a
blocks.
trench drain or an under drain?
Well, a trench drain, yeah.
Okay. No, that's fine, sorry.
Sorry, I was reading what was written on the change order, but yeah, it's a trench drain. So yeah, it's for a couple of blocks to be able to, so we weren't flooding out people's properties after, causing a problem that wasn't there before. And then, let's see, and then most of these other ones, during our change order number 3, I believe it was, we had, or no, it's change order 2, we added replacing the water service lines up to the buildings. And I said that would be for a standard one, and that we would have change orders for some of the more complicated or larger ones. And so what we've got is well, let's just go down the list. 219 and 220 South 4th Street. What that was is there is no water main on 4th Street. These 2 houses were tied into High Street. So we ended up having to put in extra long services to get back to them, but we left it in a way that our plan in the future is to replace the water main on Lexington. It is an odd size water main and very old, and both of those things mean it's very hard to fix when it breaks. And so we have it designed so that when we do that project, we'll tie into the High Street and actually put a water main down 4th Street and be able to tie these 2 houses into that water main in the future. So that was an extra on there. We also did a couple of larger services for, there's an apartment building on High Street as well as a church on Franklin. That was the 511 West High is an apartment building. The 418 West Franklin is a church. The church ended up being a 2-inch service that we had to run about 115 feet to get into the middle of the church, because the church is, it's got the old portion and then it's been expanded, and so it was just a strange one to be working on. And then there was there's a line for the retaining walls to be replaced. And there were portions of the project where, after we got the sidewalks into ADA compliance, they were at a pretty extreme angle. We lowered them, and the bottom of the retaining wall was then hanging in the air. So we had to cut out sections of the retaining wall and replace it.
And the water services, was that part of our lead line abatement program?
Yes, those all count towards the lead line replacements that we're required to do from the EPA, and we're keeping them tabulated, saying what we've replaced out there. So,
Other questions for Jason?
I think the only question that I have is more from a general understanding and educational perspective, is the under drain, the trench drain, what that accomplishes, and do we have to worry about that getting clogged in the future, or of additional maintenance and those types of circumstances?
It's actually tied into our storm
Okay.
drain. Basically, we tied into the back end of a catch basin and then ran the pipe underneath the tree lawn, and then have the ability for it to catch everything that's landing in that area. We have it sloped in.
So is there essentially a drain in the tree lawn
Yes.
in the right of way that would, does it look like like a storm sewer drain, or is it?
It's a smaller.
Okay,
type
smaller
drain.
mesh, or?
Yeah. It's got a green top to it. I mean, it's a small.
Okay.
Smaller
And
drain.
and so worrying about it getting clogged with debris or anything is no different than any other kind of
Exactly.
storm drain. Okay,
Exactly.
perfect. Thank you for the insight.
And then also on this job, I know that right now that the contract price is up 5%. We did a quick little math on what our adjustment to final quantities is, and our adjustment is going to be well lower than what the
Some of these
current
are
contract
changing
price is.
site conditions.
Yes.
too.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
yes.
that's what I was going to wonder too, if we would, or if it should be broken out to show the change as a result of like a change order versus a change in site conditions component, or do we not worry about that
I
until
don't
we
think
start
we have to
getting
worry about it
to?
on this one. The work is pretty much done out there, so and then, yeah, like I said, we've got a pretty significant change order coming for lowering the price, so
great.
it's.
Perfect.
Other questions?
Just what's the rule of thumb for the amount that you factor in and of unanticipated increases? I know this is 5%, but is there?
Right. I believe on this one, I think we gave ourselves a buffer of about 10%, I think, when we were setting up the purchase order for the project. We give ourselves a buffer so that we don't have to go back and be getting any sort of another appropriation for it, so.
All those in favor of change order number 4 for contract 2314, bringing the new final contract price to $5,408,847.66, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
Mr. President, I move that we approve change order number 2 and final for the quote 23-19 Jackson and Johnson Traffic Signal and Water Extension, decreasing the total contract price by $10,173.70, resulting in a final contract price of $791,859.85.
Motion and a second. Hello, Mark.
Hello, Mark Lucas, Public Works. Yeah, this project completed late last year, but there was a delay in getting our as-built, and we've received those, so we'd like to close this project out.
Okay. You guys happy with the work?
Yeah, they did a real good job.
And all those in favor or questions?
My only question is that the subject matter says change order number 3, so I just wanted to confirm that this is supposed to be number 2.
Oh, that's a good point, Rose.
Yeah, correct, it was.
And so this would be final. So I would amend my motion to be that we approve change order number 3 and final for quote number 23-19 Jackson and Johnson Traffic Signal and Water Extension.
Okay, time out. Everybody wait. Would you withdraw that just for a second,
Yeah,
Jamie?
I withdraw.
Is this change order number 2 and final or 3 and final?
I believe it's 2 and final. I'm not sure if,
Yeah.
Everything
Oh.
else says,
Yeah.
where is the change order?
Oh, I don't know. Good question.
Does Andy have it?
No?
on the agenda as 3, but it should.
We're missing the change order. Sent that with the memo. Okay.
All right, motion table?
Second.
Motion and a second to table. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
Mr. President, I move that we approve the specifications and grant permission to advertise the 2025 asphalt crack seal project for bid number 2516.
Motion and a second. So you guys have kind of been spearheading this for
Several years.
more than several.
Yeah, just annual preventative maintenance.
Are we seeing the results of a more organized crack sealing?
Yeah, and I think that's a result of more organized pavement program too. Street commissioner likes to knock out a lot of streets in one area. And then this just follows up a year or two after the paving project. In general, there's a few miscellaneous streets that might need hit out of that sequence, but it's normally follows paving by 1 or 2 seasons.
And have you guys seen, this might be a Jeff question, have you guys seen an improvement in the overall road ratings as we've done this?
Yeah, Jeff Schaefer, Assistant City Engineer. The answer is yes, our PASER scores are going up. The longer answer is we're a little bit waiting on the state. The state's doing a pretty robust study getting everyone's PASER scores and what they're doing for maintenance. And so the state is answering some of the questions we started asking when we first started doing PASER 10 years ago, which is how long is our pavement really going to last based on traffic counts and truck counts and that sort of thing. And so hoping to see some numbers from the state in the next 2 or 3 years on that to get a really good sense of statewide doing better pavement maintenance and how that's worked out for us.
Okay, great.
And Jeff, real quick, since you're there, and I know that under the current street commissioner's direction and with your assistance that we've transitioned the way that we have been crack sealing to away from the sand and sweep method that created a whole bunch of mess. Are we seeing any difference in length of, I guess, the durability of the new method from the old method, or is it pretty much similar and we're just not having to deal with the extra
I wouldn't say we've seen any significant change either way. And yes, this is obviously a lot cleaner and easier to clean up afterwards.
It was a lot faster too.
Yeah.
Yep, yeah. We're pretty happy with where we are at the moment.
Great.
I forgot about those terrible days. Yeah, and the phone. All right, so I have a motion and a second to approve plans and specification for the 2025 asphalt crack seal program. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
Mr. President, I move that we accept and place on file the wastewater utility monthly report of operations for the month of March 2025.
Second. Motion and a second. Laura, anything special?
Nope.
Okay. Plant's still working good? You've got at least one rainfall here?
Oh, we got lots of rainfall events.
Okay.
Yeah.
And new
can
systems
stop.
are working as you'd hoped?
Yeah.
Okay, great.
Laura, regarding the wet weather overflows and the new system, would we have experienced more overflows had we not been in the expanded state that we are currently?
In the
or is-
future, that will be the case.
Okay.
We're not there yet.
Okay,
I mean, as difficult as the construction was, what is equally difficult is getting the system to optimize flows to the plant.
And the other thing, Jamie, is some of these overflows are out in the system, the improvements haven't been connected.
And that was going to be a follow-up as part of that, was how much of it was also just pending the other CSO work that we're dealing with, so, great.
All righty. Okay, then, Andy?
Just wanted to thank Laura for taking me on the tour the other day. If I know, Mike, you've been there, but I don't know if the rest of you have, but it was very educational. Spending a couple hours there going through. It's really amazing what you do there. And after seeing all that and the infrastructure and understanding how much things cost, to me, I fully understand why the rate increases have to happen. I mean, having safe drinking water and waterways is so important, but thank you for that and for all your service for all these years.
Said, Andy. All those in favor of accepting, placing on file the wastewater utility monthly report of operations for March. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
Mr. President, I move that we approve Resolution 25-R-08, a resolution of the Board of Public Works of the City of Elkhart, Indiana, appropriating wastewater utility funds for contractual services other.
Second?
Motion and second. Martin?
Laura. You may recall at the last meeting, the board declared an emergency out at Lexington Landing, I don't remember the name of the road, for an emergency sewer repair. This is the funding for that repair.
And I assume the financial people have reviewed it and said, yeah, this isn't going to be a problem.
Correct.
Other questions? Seeing none, all those in favor of this appropriation signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
Mr. President, I move that we approve McDowell Enterprise, hold on.
We approve the request.
Yeah,
to
approve the
close
request
out.
to close out the McDowell Enterprises consent order for permit number 85-01.
And a second. Second. Hey, Steve.
Good morning, Board. Steve Brown, Public Works and Utilities. We're pleased to present to the Board McDowell Enterprises consent order for the closeout. McDowell Enterprises has proven that they are capable of maintaining compliance, and the next milestone is for this consent order is to close it out.
All right, well, congratulations
Yeah.
to McDowell. Steve, thanks for working with them, get this done. Questions? Does anyone from McDowell here wish to speak or online? Think not. That said, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Mr. President, for purposes of discussion, I move that we find Elkhart Environmental Processing permit number 2002-02 in violation of their industrial wastewater discharge permit due to the failure of appropriately notifying of a sludge discharge in multiple fog exceedances and assign a penalty of $5,250.
Motion and a second. What's going on, Steve?
Yes, Elkhart Environmental Processing, they had a hauler that they had some challenges while treating this hauled waste on site, and we received a few calls from the operators at the wastewater treatment plant about issues of color and high solids coming into the plant. Pre-treatment staff did an investigation and found the source coming from Elkhart Environmental Processing. We met with them to explain the challenges that we were having at the treatment plant. And we came up with a game plan for them to continue to discharge their hauled waste. During the sampling events, there were multiple fog violations from this discharge, and the enforcement response plan recommends a penalty as well for failure to notify of the slug discharge. So there's The total recommended penalty is $5,250 for this violation.
Is this enough? Penalty?
This is all based off the ERP, but I believe.
I mean, I'm concerned if have trouble treating something, and that's what their whole purpose is. I mean, it's pretty easy to eat a $5,000 penalty and not perform the service that they're hired to perform and the guarantee. I mean, I guess we're lucky that it was fog was what the problem was?
Yeah, fog. We did do sampling of their discharge, and no other pollutants were a concern.
What if it would have been mercury?
True.
I mean, I'm very concerned about this.
Yep.
We did conduct extensive sampling during this time, and they will be billed for that additional monitoring and analysis that was performed. This is just the penalty portion in accordance with the ERP. Throughout the entire process, EEP was extremely accommodating, coming to us to help resolve the situation. We worked together, and I wish all of our upsets, which are encountered by many throughout the year, were as easy to work through and resolve as this situation was.
Thank you for that.
Yeah, I think that was pretty helpful. And I guess one of my questions was, given the sample date and in the relatively short time frame that all of this was occurring, was there a reasonable enough time for them to get things corrected between 3.4 and 3.7? Okay, perfect.
Let's keep it simple, yes.
Okay.
I got a hint, if they show up with these guys again, I'll be, if
Less
I'm here,
accommodating.
I'll be less accommodating.
Yep, I understand.
All right, is anybody from Elkhart Environmental Processing here and wish to address the board or online?
Also, just so the board is aware, the owner, we met with him Friday on a different issue, a positive issue. And we assured him coming today was not necessary.
Sure.
So he was willing to, we assured him, because he has to make the trip from Pennsylvania. So he was willing, but we assured him that was not necessary.
Okay.
Thank you for that.
Any other questions, comments from the board? Seeing none, all those in favor of approving the violation and assessing a penalty of $5,250 to Elkhart Environmental Processing, permit number 2002-02, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
Mr. President, I move that we issue Dimensional Metals Products, DBA RC Industries Incorporated, permit number 92-02. It's 5-year industrial wastewater discharge permit renewal.
Motion and a second. Go ahead, Steve, sorry.
Yep. Dimensional Metals Product, doing business as RC Industries. They have been great corporate citizens here in Elkhart. This is a metal finisher. This is just a standard 5-year permit renewal.
Questions? Seeing none, all those in favor of approving permit renewal for permit number 92-02 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
Mr. President, I move that we accept the amended industrial wastewater discharge permits updated with the new local limits for the significant industrial users listed on the memorandum from Steve Brown.
I heard is for the industrial users listed. It's for all industrial users.
Oh.
This is
Oh,
the
got it.
change.
Yes.
I had to read it a couple
Okay.
times
Yeah.
myself.
All right. So I would with I guess, restate that to accept the amended industrial wastewater discharge permits updated with new local limits for the significant industrial users.
And a second. Steve,
Yes,
so did we do a local limits study and it changed these?
that's correct, yep. We have to conduct these local limit studies I believe it's every permit renewal
Is
for
it wastewater permit?
our NEPDs, yep,
Okay.
yep. And so with the revised local limits, we have to also amend every industrial discharge permit with these updated limits.
Okay, so did I speak correctly when I
Yep,
corrected?
You got it. Yep,
Okay.
You got it.
That means we're going to have 39. And are they aware of this? Has there been
Yes, sir.
public meetings with that? Or
Yeah, we communicated to them the new limits, and there's also some changes as well with the instantaneous limit as well, but they're aware. I can't see you with these.
happy about them, aren't they?
Only one concern, one industry voiced concern, but yeah.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thanks, Steve. Good job.
Mr. President, I move that we award the heavy rescue from bid number 25-12 to Addison Fire Protection District 1 in the amount of $855,000 even.
Motion and second. Rodney, how you doing?
Pretty good. How you guys doing this morning?
Real good. Only one bidder?
Yeah,
And this is for the sale of the heavy rescue, correct?
correct. Yeah, we only had the one bidder, but we made out on it. So
And if I recall, Chief, this 855,000 exceeded the floor that we had established as part of the bid
Exactly.
package,
Oh,
correct?
yeah. We came out really good on this. So.
Trading it in when we got a new one?
Yeah, we're going to get a heavy rescue. A city should be about 100,000 people to actually need one. That was purchased before my time, before I was in charge. So we're going to replace it with a tiller and make it a ladder and a heavy together. So,
Okay.
Yeah.
Other questions? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
All right.
Thanks,
Thanks,
Rodney.
guys. Thank you.
Mr. President, I move that we award we approve the purchase of 6 Snap-on column lifts for the Central Fire Station Mechanics Garage using Sourcewell Contract 1223-SNP for a total amount of $73,218.91 to Snap-on Incorporated.
Second.
Motion and a second. How we doing?
Doing well. Noah Lace, Division Chief Services at Elkhart Fire.
So tell us what we're doing.
All right, so we have one lift right now currently, and these are mobile column lifts. So with supply chain issues and proprietary parts, we've run into several occasions where we've had a fire truck currently on our lift with a lot of disassembly and find out parts so far out, or it's proprietary part and that's far out as well. So this will make us more efficient. Instead of having to put that rig all back together, we can take these mobile column lifts and go over and service something in the bay it sets without having to waste time and put stuff back together. And then they're also cheaper than installing a new floor lift. So,
All right. Other questions? Seeing none, all those in favor of this award signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. One question. when we use Sourcewell, don't you have to go through the controller and legal to approve that a bidding?
That is technically the process that we have established, that the legal department reviews the contract to identify that it has followed the appropriate procurement steps within the state of Indiana. And then the presumption is that all purchases are subject to appropriation of available funds.
Maggie Marnoka, the board's attorney. Because this is a fire department, I believe Kevin Davis handled
Yeah,
that.
Kevin's in the back.
I just wanted to make that clear, but that's what we follow. Kevin follows that.
I thought the controller's office was involved.
Just in terms of the availability of the funds, that's really the
Yeah,
primary.
we really set up the process with the controller to make sure that we check and, make sure that the contract, the Sourcewell contract, did follow the bidding process.
Okay, thank you. Next action, Jamie.
Mr. President, I move that we approve the master services agreement with InFocus for a total contract price of $122,500.
Second?
Motion and second. Hi, Mike.
Good morning, Board. Mike Huber, Director of Development Services, City of Elkhart. This and the next item, I believe, is the next item. These are contracts that were approved by the board previously. However, there were some issues either with their attorneys or our attorneys in some of the contracts that were brought. So we had to revise, make some revisions. Maggie's officially signed off on everything here, and so I'm just asking for reapproval of these contracts.
Okay, other questions?
Mike, did the investment remain the same?
Yeah, the prices, everything's the same. The scopes
Okay.
are the same, dollars the same, just some wording in the contracts.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
Mr. President, I move that we approve the services contract with the University of Notre Dame for the Unified Development Ordinance for a contract price of $25,000.
Second. Motion and a second. This is the same thing. Okay. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
Mr. President, okay, so we moved the award quote. Do we have to take action on that, Mike, since we included it on?
Once you make a motion, nobody second it, and it'll die.
Okay, Mr. President, I move that we award quote number 25-09, the West Hubbard Sewer and Manhole Repair.
No second, motion dies.
Mr. President, I move that we approve the economic development grant agreement between the City of Elkhart and the Elkhart Sister Cities Association Incorporated in the amount of $10,000.
Second?
Motion and a second. Anyone here to speak on that?
I guess broadly, this is a standard economic development partnership agreement that we have with sister cities and other economic development related not-for-profits and organizations to provide support, and this has been included in the 2025 budget and is consistent with support in past years.
That's handled through economic development, do you know?
Well, it's funded through EDIT currently, and would be similar to the support that we provide for the Jazz Festival, for the Grand Prix, for other downtown event. And Elkhart Sister Cities, Rose can speak more about the mission vision of the program, but this will also assist in putting on the Hispanic Heritage Festival that occurs in September.
Yeah, the vast majority of funds, I would say, go towards the Hispanic Heritage Festival, but then we also do activities with our sister city. Currently, we have multiple sister cities, but the principal one we've been involved with has been upon Mexico.
Okay,
If I may,
sure, please.
was this approved by the legal department?
Yes.
Okay.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
Mr. President, I move that we award quote number 25-07 for a new transit van for buildings and grounds to Jordan Ford in the amount of $50,699.
Second. Motion and a second. Are these standard awards, no big deal? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
Mr. President, I move that we award quote number 25-08, new Ford Transit passenger van for the fire department to EB Ford in the amount of $63,003.08. That's pretty close bidding. Quoting.
Second. One down.
No, yeah.
Yeah, I think it's 92 cents.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
Mr. President, I move that we authorize the fleet manager to sign the insurance claim contract once approved by the Department of Law.
Second.
Motion and a second. What is this?
Good morning, Board. Josh Holden, Central Garage. Just want to introduce you real quick to the new Assistant Fleet Manager. This is Matt Powell. Matt Powell is
Is it Matt?
Matt. Yep,
Okay.
Matt Powell. Yep. Hope he's going to do a good job.
Welcome, Matt.
This was for an insurance claim that we had against another insurance policy from an outside citizen, I guess. They hit one of our vehicles. They required us to sign the contract to release the funds to the body shop. That's all this is. And legal has gone over it. The company sent us a revised contract to sign, which was reapproved. And yeah, so it's pretty simple.
All right. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
Thank you, Board.
Thank you.
Mr. President, I move that we ratify the No Tyrants, No Kings rally that occurred on let me revise that. I move that we ratify the No Tyrants, No Kings rally and march that occurred on April the 19th, 2025.
Not March 4th, 19th?
Yeah, no.
All those in favor of ratifying signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Public participation. Does anyone wish to participate from the audience? Anyone online? A reminder that if you wish to participate online, we have to be able to see you while you speak to the board. All right, seeing none, close any public comment.
Move to adjourn.
Second.
Motion and a second, we're adjourned.